Friends, Eric Andreas, your guitar sage here. Hey, everybody, we're here. We're going to have a lot of fun today. I'm going to be teaching you about the power of the pentatonic scale. Was using a lot of it right there. Using a little bit of blues and a little bit, actually, of harmonic minor. But today we're going to really be focusing on the pentatonic. And really what I was just doing there was probably 99% of it was pentatonic. So the pentatonic scale is very, very powerful. So this is how it goes. If you've never joined me for one of these live events, basically, this is what we do. Oh, by the way, hi. For those of you that are wondering what the next giveaway is, it's this beautiful 1985 Fender Stratocaster that I just got from Groon Guitar. It has a locking tremolo system, which they did for like a year or two in the 80s. And I believe that this is I believe that the tailpiece here is licensed by Kahler, which, if you remember, in the 80s, they made a killer system similar to Floyd Rose, like Ibanez and some of those guys were using it. Anyhow, beautiful guitar. And I was saying to my team here, you know, we were talking about getting the next guitar from Groon. I was laying in bed at night, and for whatever reason, in my mind's eye, I was seeing this candy apple red Strat. And so I went in there, and lo and behold, there was one sitting there on the rack. So I don't know if I was envisioning that or just what, but it was only one. And I said, well, then that's the one, because that means something, right? I dreamed about it, and there's nothing better than a candy apple Strat anyhow. So super cool, right? 1985, legit. Vintage guitar here. I know that's weird to say 1985 is vintage, but it is. This guitar's 33 years old. Is that right? Dear Lord, where's the time gone? It's 33 years old, and some lucky winner is going to win this on June the 30th, along with thousands of dollars worth of goodies. If you don't know about this already, keep an eye out for it, because we're going to have an announcement for it. But basically, I'm going to be teaching you 7 practice focuses for all guitarists. And these 7 practice focuses will actually help you to understand how to practice, how to focus your practice, and how to literally become the full breadth with a D, of a guitar player. You know, you want to be diverse. You want to be able to play bits and pieces of all, at least. So that's what this is going to be about. Okay, so today, though, my friends, we're going to be talking about the power of the pentatonic scale. I like to do these once a week, usually on Facebook and on live, and I bounce back and forth between the two and answer your questions after I teach the lesson. So for less than an hour, I will be teaching today's lesson, which is the power of the pentatonic scale. Then I'll be getting to your questions. So please save your questions, because right now I really won't be looking too much at the thread. Okay, if you want to talk amongst yourselves, you can do that. Perfect. 2 things that I want to direct you to right at the moment. I've specifically created a PDF for you today, along with free bonus videos for you today that are going to help expound on what it is that I'm talking about. We really love doing these live webcasts. We love your participation. We love all the love that we get, and we want to continue to spread it, and we want to make it bigger, and we want to provide more for you, because it's so cool that back in the day, less than 10 years ago, I would sit in front of one student, and now I can sit in front of hundreds, and on the 30th, on June 30th, I'll be in front of thousands of people live, and that's just cool to me. I don't know why. It is cool. So, so we're trying to up these broadcasts. So make sure that you look in the description of the video right now. You're going to see 2 URLs. One of them is going to say bonus PDF June 2021. The other one's going to say June bonus videos. Okay. Make sure that you click on both of those, open them up in another tab, download that PDF, because right now we're going to be talking about it. Right now we're going to be using it. So it's important that you have that right there in front of you. The bonus videos, obviously, you can watch those later, because what I'm going to be explaining to you is going to be similar to what those videos are, but probably those videos are going to be a little bit more in depth. So let's get into it. Okay, so the pentatonic scale. Oh, and by the way, real quick, sorry, I do this every now and then. So for those folks that share this today, as you know, we do giveaways at every live broadcast, so we're going to have something for you today, either a signed book by me or the trifecta ebook bundle that you can find on my website, YourGuitarSage.com, or something else. We like to pull surprises. We've done guitars, we've done pedals, the whole 9 yards. So make sure you share this on social media. We keep an eye out after the broadcast, and we usually pick 5 winners, sometimes more than that. All right, so now we're officially beginning right now. Okay, the power of the pentatonic scale. Let's talk about it. If you've watched any of my other videos before on scales, you'll hear me talk about the pentatonic scale very often and the major scale very often. Here's why. The major scale is the ruler, if you will. If we're a carpenter and we have a square, and we're going to use that square to do all the things that we do as a carpenter, or a ruler, right? We're going to walk around with that thing all the time. We're using it all the time. That is the major scale for the musician, because the major scale allows them to use theory and construct chords, construct other scales, modes, minor scales, pentatonic scales, the whole 9 yards. That's our yardstick, if you will, and it's a very important thing to know anyhow, okay? Because you'll be using it. I was using it just now here as well, as I was soloing if I wanted more notes. But the pentatonic scale is the 5-note scale. The major scale is a 7-note scale, right? Septatonic, is that right? Septatonic, I think it is. But nonetheless, it's a 7-note scale. The 5-note scale is the pentatonic scale. We're just taking 2 notes out without getting into the details about which notes those are. Essentially, the pentatonic scale is a very easy to listen to scale. It's been used in blues, rock, jazz, classical. It's used in many, many different genres. Not so much classical, but it has been used in that before. But a lot of the pop genres, because it's a very symmetrical sounding scale, and it's easy to play, especially on guitar, and for a myriad of other reasons. So that's why I wanted to cover it today. Also, if you know this scale and you understand how to use it, I'm going to show you one form today, even though the PDF that I've provided for you has more forms than that. I think it might have like 4 or 5 forms. So make sure you get that PDF, okay? But today I'm literally just going to be talking about the one form. Why, Eric? Why are you only going to show us one form? Because all the other forms are just duplicates. Remember, we're talking about the 5-note scale. Just like the major scale, we've got Do. Let's do something a little different here. Hold on. Just like the major scale, right? We have Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, and then it ends at Do. Now we could keep going, but it's just more of the same notes, right? We got Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. Okay, if these were notes, it would be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and it just keeps going, okay? So when we're talking about these different forms of the scales, don't get confused. We're not talking about different notes. We're talking about duplicate notes or octaves of notes. So if this is a G, this is a G, this is a G, this is a G, right? They're all Gs, but the flavor isn't different, okay? So with that being said, you can learn all the different forms. It's good to later on, but what I really implore students to do is just learn one form in the beginning, because more is not better, especially in the beginning, okay? Later on, there's a reason to know these different forms, because you're going to get bored of just playing one form. And each form allows for different fingerings, different licks to come out, things that are easier to play than in one form than in another. So there is reasons to learn those other forms, but very, very important that you keep it simple. There's an old saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Basically, it's just keep things simple, because why are you complicating it when there's no need to, especially if you're having an issue with something. Make it simple. So the pentatonic scale, we're just going to learn this form 1. The great thing about form 1 is it's literally the basis for like 99% of every cool solo that's ever been written since the beginning of time. Amen. All blues solos and what have you. Everybody starts off in that first position. Let's see. Stairway to Heaven. With the exception of that note, that's all pentatonic. All pentatonic except for that note right there. So, let's take that's the same solo. Thinking not Back in Black, but AC/DC, Anyhow, nonetheless, you're going to find these licks all over the place, okay, by blues players, by jazz players, all. And they're almost always starting off in this first position. Why? Because it's very comfortable for guitar players. So, with all that preaching, just learn form 1 if you're new to this, okay? Once you get accustomed, once you get used to using form 1, then you can branch out to the other forms. But trust me, if 1,000 guitar players asked me, should I learn the other forms, I'm going to tell 1,000 people, don't. Learn form 1, get really good at it. Then when you get so good at form 1, then go out to the other forms. It's kind of like juggling. If you can't juggle 2 balls, why would you try to juggle 3 balls or 4 or 5? That's ridiculous. Get used to juggling 2 balls really well, then you can move on to 3. Okay, you got to use that same logic when you're learning guitar. Okay, so you got it? Form 1, that's all we're going to be looking at today. Now, what the great thing about this form, and I'm going to show it to you right now, it's also in your PDF, is you know this one form, you can play it in any song. Major or minor, doesn't matter the key. And it's so simple. Watch how I'm going to simplify this, okay? We're doing, this particular form is going to be A minor pentatonic, okay? I'll explain major and minor in that in a moment. But this is going to be A minor pentatonic. You're in the 5th position, okay? First finger's behind the 5th fret, and the first finger will play every note on the 5th fret here, so every string. And then you're either going to play the pinky or the 3rd finger, okay? So that's a little hint on how this will be styled. So watch this. So starting in the 5th position here, we're going fingers 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. I'll do that again. Here we go. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. And thank you so much for everybody who's sharing the video right now. I truly appreciate that. We've got some great numbers here. Folks are learning today, so thank you. All right. So, now this is, you might have heard this called the box scale because it looks a lot like a box. So 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. So every single time we got this first finger here. So you can't mess it up. If you're playing this scale and you don't know where to go, if you just go right here and hit any one of these strings, you're going to be good. Okay? Now, if we're playing something, in this case here, I was playing, this little chord progression that I was playing is in the key of D minor. Okay? And basically what it allows me to do is I moved this whole thing up to the key of D, and I was playing. I was playing some different forms of that, you know, I was playing. You know, it's basically the same form. Just different places on the neck, okay? So don't get bothered by that. So here's the deal. If we're playing a song in the key of A minor, then this A minor pentatonic scale will work really nicely over it. So you locate your A. If you don't know how to locate the notes on the fretboard, then you have some basics that you must get under your fingers, okay? You stick with us today, but I promise you, whenever you hear me do this, I should have like an alert or alarm that goes off. It means that there's some basics that you don't have. These basics are covered in a free course that are available for you today, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Why did I create this course? Because so many people have little missing pieces, and then when I'm trying to explain something to them, they can't move any further. So you got to watch those videos. If you don't, it's going to be really hard to explain. It'd be like not knowing simple addition, subtraction, and division, and then we're going on to trigonometry, and you're going to be like, well, I don't know how to do this. Well, because you didn't do those bits first. So you got to do that. So some of you know that this is an A, right? Because we said E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. That's one of the videos covered in that free series. So we know this is an A. And if we play this form 1, starting right here, then what we get is an A minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so now if I play this, go. So we can play this pentatonic over it all day long. Okay, so you got the idea there. Now, if I wanted to move this down to G minor, let's say the chord progression was in G minor, then I literally would just go A flat, G, and I would play the same exact form. Fingers 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. Super easy. Okay? So, and I'm going to show you major in just a minute, but basically any place, you've got to know that the key of a song, and I'll be talking about that here in just a minute too. Once you know the key of a song, okay, and it's not difficult to do. I've got videos for this. Obviously, in all my courses, you can check those out. And then I have some videos on YouTube too, as well. Just search YourGuitarSage key, K-E-Y. You'll find it. But if we know, let's say something's in the key of B minor, well, then we take our A, and we say A sharp, B. Okay, and then we can use this form. And you can see that the B minor chord fits really nicely right in that scale. You can see that chord fits right nicely in there, right? So you can do this for any minor key, super easy. Now, where people get confused is they say, well, what about the major key? Like, how do I take this and make it major? And this is where folks get confused, so I really want you to focus in right now. Really focus, okay? This is covered in the PDF that I have for you in the description of the video as well. So you can download that and it'll explain it further for you. If you don't get this right now, it's okay. But know this, okay? So if we're playing in A minor, our form's going to look like this. Now, to play in A major, you use the exact same form, okay? So nothing's going to change with the 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4 1 4. Nothing changes with that. But what does change is where you move the scale. So obviously, it's not going to work for major and minor right there. So in order to make it major, this is what we do. One thing only. We move it down, or I could say move down three half steps. But instead of our first finger going here, our pinky goes here. And now we would play the scale. You could play the scale the same way. 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. But just know that the pinky is the tonic. It's the key. So even though we might start it here, or we may allow ourselves to go there should we want to in the key of A, but A is really our tonic. So it's always a good habit to practice scales from tonic to tonic so that your ear solidifies that, okay, this is home base, this is the key, this is the tonic, this is where we're at, okay? So A, major. Can you hear how it sounds major? Now if I play minor, then I gotta play it like this, put my first finger here. It's all A minor. Major, and play the same form, but put my pinky where the A was instead of my first finger. Make sense? So you can do this for major or minor, it doesn't matter. It matters what, if the song's in the key of, in a major key, obviously you need to use a major form of the pentatonic. With blues, you can do both a bit, but we're not even going to get into that right now. Right now, just continue to do what I'm saying here. When you start getting to the higher levels, we can talk about that in another video, okay? So, just remember, your tonic is most important. You got to know the tonic, or the key of the song, right? I say the tonic of the song, the key of the song. You got to know that. And then you got to match the scale with the key of the song. Think about it like this. The key of the song are all the notes and chords that basically point towards the center of the solar system, the sun, or in this case here, our key. All the notes kind of revolve around it, and there's one central note that everything comes back to. It has a magnetic pull, if you will, mathematically and ear-wise. And that's our key. So it's the utmost important. You can't just play a pentatonic scale over anything. You've got to know the key. It would be like a conversation where someone's, talking about cars, and then you come in and you start talking about sharks. That would be socially awkward. They're talking about cars, you're talking about cars, right? Same thing. If you play a scale outside of a key, it's going to sound like it. And you could be playing the fastest, coolest licks in the world, but if it's not in the right key, it's going to sound like poop, okay? All right, so let's talk really quickly about how to find a key to a tune. And I have videos for this, again, inside the course and some inside YouTube. Just type in YourGuitarSage key. Okay. All right, so these are rules of thumb. When I talk about finding the key to a tune, I always think about being a detective. And what does a detective do? Well, goes into a crime scene, sees blood, sees someone standing there and says, "You're the murderer," right? Exactly. No. That's not what his job is to do. Her job is to go find clues about what happened here. Even though there's someone standing there, they may not have been the murderer, right? They're going to look for clues. And as a musician, you need to look for clues to determine what the tonal center is. There's many ways to do it. The easiest ways that I've found is look at the first and last chord of the song. Now, if the song fades out, obviously you don't have the last chord because it's fading out. So the first chord is almost always, and I really want you to underline that in your mind, almost always. It's almost always the tonic of the song. The last chord of the song is almost always the tonic, or the key of the song, okay? Very important that you understand that. Now, there's other ways to find this out too, but for instance, if we were to start a song off like, let's see. Right? This song starts off on a C major. So what it's doing is it's setting the stage. If you've ever watched a movie, right, there's always that first scene. If it's a cop show or something, it's probably going to start off with some heist or something going on, something to do with law, right? If it's a romance and maybe it's a pretty scene and people on a beach or who knows what, but it's setting a scene. Music sets a scene, and it usually does that with the tonic and a chord progression that's in that specific key, and almost always starts off with the key. Okay, and then oftentimes you'll hear a song end on the key like this. Right, and you have that resolution. What happens if we said, that's weird, right? Whoa, because I just changed keys on you. So, and what happens if I did this? And I just leave it hanging there. Oh, I had a theory teacher that would do that to me, and it drove me nuts. I had to go up to the piano and resolve it. So, right? So that's our tonic. That's our resolution. So that's what I want you to listen for in a song. Is I want you to listen for that chord that rests, where you're like, there it is. The one chord is the easiest chord to listen for, and to get the idea of. And once you do that, that's the most important thing, because it tells you everything else that you need to know about your scale, about your about the scale, about the song, about the notes that are involved, this, that, and the other thing, okay? So those are the two things you can do. The other thing that you can do is you can just kind of search, okay? So for instance, if I, what I used to do is if a song was playing, I would take the pentatonic scale and I would play a few notes out of it. And I would just go up chromatically, meaning go up in half steps until the notes sounded right. If I heard a note that didn't sound right, well then I kept moving, right? Because pentatonic scale is the most, it's an easy, palatable scale to listen to, so it shouldn't happen that you hit a wrong note there. Does that make sense? So you'll know that you're in the right key when you're playing through the pentatonic scale over a chord progression, and everything sounds pretty decent. There's no sour notes. Now, it may not sound like a symphony, you may not sound like Eddie Van Halen, but it's not going to sound bad. You're not going to have like a sour note, okay? Okay, makes sense? I think that does. Okay, so let's get into some questions because I need to find out from you if you need some questions answered, which I'm sure that you do. So let's get into it. And we're going to be starting on, I'll tell you what, we're going to start on YouTube today since you always start on Facebook. So we'll start on YouTube, okay? All right. And by the way, thank you so much for everybody playing here on Facebook and YouTube and playing nice and all that good stuff. Please don't forget to share. And please put a question mark at the end of your questions because I'm looking at hundreds of comments, right? So it's going to jump out if I see a question mark. Otherwise, I probably won't read them all. I'll assume you guys are talking to each other, right? All right, good, good. And I love to see where everybody's from. Cincinnati, Floral City, Florida. We got another Florida boy. I'm a Florida boy, so love it. Alabama, Huntsville, nice. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. Someone said, can you start? Yes, at the end of the timer. That's what the timer's for. Okay. The Sage is in a serious mood. I'm always in a serious mood, even when I'm in a fun mood. It's serious. I'm seriously having fun. All right. Someone said, what about acoustic guitar? Raymond is saying, what about acoustic guitar? My reply to you, Raymond, what about it? You might need to get a little bit more specific with me there. What would, okay. So is one form the same all over the neck, even if it's a different key? Great question. Charles is saying, is form 1 the same all over the neck, even if it's in a different key? Let me explain this, Charles. Yes. The short answer is yes. So watch this. So if I'm playing in A minor, it's going to look like this. A minor. If I'm playing an A sharp minor, I'm just moving it up a half step and playing A sharp minor. If I wanted to play in B minor, I just move it up a half step, and here I'm in B minor. C minor, move it up a half step, same form. And so on and so forth. So whatever this note is, C sharp, C sharp. So it's like wherever you move that tonic, that's going to be your key. So it's the same form every single time, okay? Now I also have a video that's on YouTube that's called Know One Form, Know Them All, and basically it shows you that if you take this form, you know, form 1, you can play it in octaves in different ways all over the fretboard. So it's still the same 5 notes all over the fretboard, but yes, form 1, it's the same in every single key. You just move it, slide it up and down the fretboard. That's why I say it's so powerful, because it's literally that easy. People overcomplicate this stuff, and it's easy to do. It's music, and most of us just jump in right away, and it's not your fault. It's just, it's exciting to do. So it's like painting or drawing, right? We doodle or we mess with clay or whatever. It's like, why are we going to school? We're just having fun. That's the whole point of music. But if we want to get further in our abilities as a musician or an artist in any sort, we need to study, right? Once there's going to be a certain place where you hit a plateau where you're like, all right, I got all the basics from just like watching and osmosis and friends and what have you. But like in order for me to really get up to the next level, I'm going to either need some lessons or a book or a course or something. Okay, so that's pushing beyond that point here, and you'll know when you're there, when you're bored with what you're doing. Okay. All right, Rod's first live show, and he's here. All right, brother, thank you so much for being here. All right. Why is his nose red? Is my nose red? Well, I was at a Tony Robbins conference for a week, a couple weeks ago, and I was in Florida. So that could be why. The reflection off the guitar. No, it's probably that I was out in the sun. Oh, thank you so much, Guffey. This guy is awesome for not only for teaching on YouTube, but actually being a useful teacher, you know? Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. So Charles is saying, so if you were playing, say, a B minor shape, will the root notes be in the same spots? Yes, Charles, every single time they will be in the same spot. So here's B minor. Here are the root notes of the B minor chord. On the 6th string, on the 4th string, on the 1st string. And those, coincidentally, not coincidentally, they are the same tonics or the same roots for the scale. So here's our B, 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 that's a great little practice to do too, is also just hit a chord and kind of work with that tonic a little bit. That'll really get it in your brain and to get you to understand how often you have to come back to it to tell the listener, hey, here, this is the key we're in, I'm coming back home type of thing, you know? Okay, great. So somebody said, oh, hold on. Oh boy, this thing just went way far up, the scroller here. Okay, sorry. Somebody said, yeah, Hendrix used these scales a lot. Indeed, he did. Also, last note as well, Eric. Yes, exactly. Last note of a song a lot of times. What about B or E sharp as the key? Someone's being a funny guy, George. You know B and E don't have a sharp. Exactly. So it would be, George, you may not know. B and E don't have a sharp. So it goes from B straight to C, and E goes straight to F. Okay, that's covered in one of the free videos. Well, it's covered in the free series, YourGuitarSage.com/30. If you're not in this, friends, you got to know about it because it's absolutely going to help with you understanding these basics. And that's YourGuitarSage.com/30. Okay. Sean's saying, unless you're talking about Sweet Home Alabama, which starts off, yeah, it's like, let's see, let's see, I forgot the tune, but yes, exactly. The song "Sweet Home Alabama" has a D, a C, and a G in it, and that is, we won't even talk about that tune because it has this feel like it's in the key of G, which actually, Sean, I know you're saying I think it's in G, but it's not. It's actually in the key of D, but. Sean, you bring up a great point, and you'll see people argue about this online, and it most assuredly is in the key of D, although one would think by just looking at it this is in the key of G because the key of G has G, C, and D in it. But alas, what a lot of country music does, and I'm going to lose a few of you here, so just literally tune this out for a second. Here, grab a thing of water or something. But Sean, if you know a little bit about music theory, in the key of G, or in the key of D actually, the C is known as the flat 7 chord, and that's used a lot in country and Americana music, which this is obviously both, and it just has that sound to it. So that one is a little bit of it's a tricky one. What's the easiest movable chord shape? Can you also show A, E, and D in that shape? Rahan is saying. Rahan, the easiest movable chord shape is probably the E minor shape. And can I show the A, E, D in that shape? I probably won't for this video, my friend, just because I cover that in my caged system videos. So on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage Caged. Okay. What is the second scale to learn after the pentatonic? The major scale. Major scale is going to be a good one. Okay. Technical question. I take chords A, D, and E7, and A minor pentatonic fits over the top of it. When I make minor chords, A minor, D minor, E minor, the A minor pentatonic fits too. Can you explain this, or is it too advanced for today? No, I will explain this, Ulrich. So a few years ago, I was sitting down with John Pell, who is an icon of a guitar teacher here in Nashville. Love the guy. Not only is he an amazing guitar player and an amazing guitar teacher, but he's just got this a spirit of gold, a kind man. He's just beautiful. And he played at my wedding, actually. He played for free, and he's an amazing guitar player. But he said that was his gift to me. So, super kind guy. And but I sat down with him, and we were hashing out some theory and what have you. And I asked him point blank. I said, "Why is it that in blues, you know, where you have an A, a D, and an E7, can you use that A minor pentatonic progression over it?" And he said, "Eric, that is just blues. That's the sound of blues. It really can't be explained. There's not like some piece of theory that you can go, oh, this is why this matches. It just matches that specific genre." Okay, so Ulrich, there is no explanation. There's no technical explanation. You could ask 1,000 guys, and someone might make something up, but there's no technical reason why it should work. It just does. Okay, so what Ulrich is saying is this. Okay, so normally, you know, you got this A minor here, right, or A major, and that should be the chord progression, or that should be the scale. But he's saying that he uses A major, D, and E7. A, so basically it's kind of bluesy, and I kind of mucked up that chord progression there a bit because I was thinking of something else. But nonetheless, they will work together, at least when it comes to blues. That's a great question. Thank you. Look at all the folks. South Carolina, Chattanooga, Georgia, France, India. Love it. How to find a key by ear. Dexter, we just went over that. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage key. Or ear. Search YourGuitarSage ear. Okay? Ramon, I keep seeing that question about what about acoustic guitar? What about it? What about it? You got to get a little bit more specific. What about it? It's a guitar that's acoustic. Might have to get more specific though. What about the 5 shapes in a single key, say the key of A? Yeah, you can do that, Chris. That's in the free PDF that I have in the description of this video, so it's there for you. But again, if you were here at the beginning of the broadcast, I said I prefer students to not look at those other 5 forms until they get the idea of form 1 down first. It's like juggling with 5 balls instead of getting 2 down first. Okay, it doesn't make sense. You may know the forms, but they're gonna sound like crap because you don't know how to use them. It's like going out and buying 5 different hammers and not really knowing how to use a hammer. Get one hammer, understand how to use that hammer well, then graduate to buying more hammers. Okay, great. Can I have that strat? Luke, you can join us on June the 30th, where I'll be giving it away, my friend. I'll be giving this guitar away. Literally, I bought this on Monday, I believe. Chris and I went down to Groon. Maybe it was Tuesday. But nonetheless, we got it. And it's here, and I'm giving it away. 1985 Candy Apple Red Fender Strat. And it plays really nice, oh, by the way. You know. Okay. Bill Stampede, I purchased the Unstoppable Guitar System and love the way that you break things down. I'm at the end of the intermediate level. I feel comfortable playing chords, but I'm having trouble playing riffs and solos. Can you please help? Bill, yes. Go into the advanced section, specifically blues. So you'll see the advanced section, and then there's a drop down that says blues. Go to that. And then specifically, listen, Bill, this is what I want you to look for. Minimalistic blues. And for those of you on YouTube, I have a couple of vids like this, but I really go into massive detail inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, obviously. So minimalistic blues and call and response. Watch those two series, call and response and minimalistic blues. For those on YouTube or Facebook and you want a taste of that, I do have some of those videos on YouTube. Just search the same thing, YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. Is it okay to hang your guitars? Seems like you'd be constantly dusting and cleaning them. Yeah, it's totally fine to hang them. That's what they do in stores and what have you, you know. After Pentatonic, gin and tonic. Rod's saying, yeah. That was my dad's favorite drink. Suppose we're playing A minor pentatonic. Is it also B major pentatonic? Okay, here's how to know that. Anytime you're playing a minor pentatonic, you're also playing a major pentatonic in another key. Anytime you're playing a major scale, you're playing a relative minor scale as well. Did you know that? Yeah, pretty cool. And it's super easy to understand. Okay, so watch this. So here's A. So here's A minor pentatonic. Okay, my pinky is C major pentatonic. Same form, I'm just starting and ending it on the C. Make sense? So anytime you're playing, so basically if you're in the minor key is going to be 3 half steps below the major key. And the major key is going to be 3 half steps above the minor key. So just know that. There's just whatever you're at, minor, you're going to go 1, 2, 3 up. Because it's major, you need to go up to be happy, right? And you're going to go down to be minor, so 1, 2, 3, go down. 3 half steps. Easy, right? Sure. Okay, do you think learning solos from existing songs or trying to improvise over backing tracks is a more effective way to learn how to do solos? Indeed, Mark, I think it is a great way to understand. Think about this. My kid, who's 3 years old now, you guys too did the same thing. Before ever cracking a book open, you knew hundreds of words. My kid can name all sorts of shapes and animals and planets. Kid knows about the Kuiper belt. It's crazy. He knows all sorts of stuff. He doesn't know how to read, right? Why? Through osmosis. I'm talking. He's picking it up. I'm pointing at something. I say, you got to go potty. He knows what that means, you know. Eat, you know what that means. So in the same way, one of the best ways to learn is from copying other players. I hear a lot of typically very bad players, people that can't play the instrument very well, say, I can't be bothered with learning other people's things. I must be my own artist. And they usually sound like it because they've got nothing to base it off of and they don't have anything good to show, okay? It's a little bit insulting, too, to people that have been great before them. So definitely borrow from these other people. That's where you're going to get the phrasing. That's where you're going to get these licks, okay? When I play something here, a lot of times I can say, oh, I'm gonna start. I want to kind of a la Hendrix, or I want to do some Jimmy Page type stuff. So I will channel whatever solo it is that I'm thinking about, whether it's Stairway to Heaven or Whole Lot of Love or something or what have you. I'll just literally think about that, and I'll think about these different licks as I'm playing, and it'll come out because it'll be in that key, it'll be in that tempo, and I'll just curtail it specifically to that progression and that moment. And 99 times out of 100 it works, you know. Okay, George is saying, I'm playing for guitar for a year now, and I got the basics down. I want to play piano. Do you think it's a good idea to split the practice hours between the two, or will I get frustrated? I think it's great to always do that, George. I don't think there's a right way. The time that you're playing piano, you're taken away from playing guitar, but there's some bits and pieces that you're going to get from playing piano that you wouldn't get from playing guitar, and vice versa. So it's not a right or wrong. It's just like what you're getting out of it. Okay. I guess I should clarify this as caged patterns and not so much individual scales, but playing the patterns in a particular key. I think that might have been related to something else, Chris, and I'm not sure what you mean by that. I apologize. So I feel like that's like a fragment there. I guess I should clarify this as caged patterns. Yeah. Yeah, you can use the cage system to play the pentatonic scales. I teach it in my Unstoppable Guitar System. I don't particularly find it to be a big wow factor like the other stuff that I teach, but I do teach it for those that do see it as a wow factor. So with the major pentatonic scales, Bobby's saying, do you always start on the pinky finger and play the scales backwards? Confused. It's not so much that you have to do that, Bobby. I'm just showing you that that's where the form's going to show up. So if you're playing A minor pentatonic, then your tonic's going to start there. But you're going to play the same exact form. Listen, the devil's in the details. The same exact form. If I move this, are you going to change it? No, it's the same exact form. Now the only thing we're doing is we're starting on the pinky. And you're playing the same exact form. You could start on the first finger. You could do that, but just know that that's your tonic. Does that make sense? If I need to do that a few more times, I'll do it. How do you apply a mode to the pentatonic scale when someone is playing chords behind it? Paulo, I would suggest not even looking at that subject until you have absolutely dominated pentatonic scales. Because a lot of folks are always looking for a new tool, a new toy, a new something or another, and they're not getting the basics down. Modes are only going to confuse you if you don't have the pentatonics down. Okay? They're only going to confuse you. Okay, can you explain cage theory? I'm way, I get it. I won't in this video, Tommy, because it'll take a good 15 minutes for me just to scratch the surface. So I have videos for it. Obviously, if you're inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have a whole system for that in there, okay? A system of it, not just one video. I do have a few videos on YouTube, though. Search YourGuitarSage Caged, okay? In the video, this pattern will have you playing all over the neck. Does that pattern work if the song is in major or minor? Works in both, Karen, for sure. Can we play lead of a song by using this? Indeed. Can you show the pentatonic again scale slowly so I know again what to practice? Carl, it's in the free PDF. So better than that, I'm giving you a free PDF. In the description of the video, I want you to download that. Okay? That will show you it specifically, so you won't need me. Okay? Nice strap, by the way. Future giveaway? It is, John. I'm giving this away in just, well, in a little over a week. Okay? On June the 30th, I'll be giving this baby away. 1985 Candy Apple Red Fender Stratocaster. Could I change the pentatonic keys with a progression? C, D, G progression. Could you play between C, D, and G pentatonics? Yes, you can. Or do we target different notes within the C pentatonic? You can do both. If you play, so what the one MFP is saying here on YouTube, he's saying, as each chord changes, C, D, and G, can I change the pentatonic scale? So if I'm playing a C, he's playing that C pentatonic, and then when he goes to the G, he's playing the G pentatonic, and then when the D, he's playing the D pentatonic. It's kind of like the Hendrix way. Hendrix would do that, you know. So he's like So right there, I'm just playing pentatonic, the same lick, right? Here's a C major pentatonic. Playing licks out of the pentatonic for each one of those, and it's gonna sound like you're playing on top of each one of those chords. So it sometimes can sound a little bit disjunct, but for sure, the first band that I was in, I was 16, and we were going in the studio. I was replacing another guitar player, and they had a studio gig lined up like a week later or something, and I had to write guitar parts for this very quickly, and some of them were solos, and that's exactly what I did, is because I was still learning music theory, as I will forever be, but I wanted to use those different forms over each one of those chords, and it was really cool. I really like what I came up with, especially for back then. So hey, from Florida. All right, another Florida boy, Alec. Say you're playing in A minor. Is there an easy way to move up and down the fret, or are you stuck in that box? Alec, no. If you download the PDF that I've created for you, you're going to see 5 different forms, so you can play all those different forms for sure. But like I say, I'm emphasizing this: get good at form 1, because more forms is not going to make you sound better. It's going to make you sound more like crap. Okay. Listen, more forms will make you sound like crap in the beginning. Understand that. And they're not just going to make you sound a little less bad. They're going to make you sound a lot worse, because you're not understanding how the notes should sound together. Use form 1, get really good at that. Then you can go out to the different forms, okay? It's like a guitar player who can't play and he goes and buys more guitars. Ain't going to help him, okay? I've noticed that there aren't many songs in the key of A minor. Why is A minor pentatonic the most common scale, since we can't solo over, there's a million songs in the key of A minor. Millions. And a lot of them in C major. Most songs, many songs are in the key of C major, and that's the relative major. So, yeah. What's the most important use of root notes in soloing? You should use them often, because technically it's almost like the period at the end of a sentence. If I'm playing, I'm ending on an A every single time, so it's the period at the end of a sentence, if you will, you know. I just got here. That's my Candy Apple Red that you're playing. Della's saying. That's right. Ramon, can you request a song for me to teach? You can, Ramon, but I get so many requests anymore. It's like we put it on a really long list, but to be honest with you, the list is growing faster than I can get to the songs. So, what's the most important use of root notes in soloing? We said that one. How can we create solo and rhythm with the pentatonic scale? How can we create solo and rhythm with the pentatonic scale? That's a really broad question. Really broad. I'd like to answer it, but I'm not sure, how I would do that. Suppose we're playing an A minor pentatonic. Is it also C major pentatonic? It is, because look, A minor, go up 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3 is C major. If you're C major, what's the relative minor? 3 down 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. Easy enough. Does that make sense? That's covered in the PDF that I've created for you guys, okay? Finger calluses. I have one on my pinky. It's not in the center. It's left of center, an issue, or normal. That's normal. That's the way that you're playing. So just more playing will get them in the right places. Okay, flat picking. I do have some videos on flat picking inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, if you're looking for that. Is the C shape movable? Every shape is movable. Is it used a lot? I use it a lot. So here's C going up the fretboard. It is, and I cover that in the caged videos. Search YourGuitarSage caged. Yeah, you can do scales on an acoustic just like you would an electric for sure. All right. Can you skip the one string doing pentatonic scales? Yeah, you could skip anything. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to play the notes in order either. You can do, you could do phrases like patterns. Sort of thing. What's the most common pentatonic scale for the guitar? I'd say A minor, C major, something like that. Can you stretch your fingers for soloing? Join me on June the 30th, my friends. June the 30th. You're going to see an announcement for it first. By the way, if you are not subscribed here with the bell and you're on my Facebook and Twitter and all those bits and pieces, you're missing out on stuff, friends, because I do all sorts of bits on there, okay? And stretching is one of them. And we're going to do a live broadcast on the 30th, and I'm going to be talking about that, okay? How can we win this strat? Rihanna is saying, join me on June the 30th, okay? Again, if you're not, this is how I let people know. I let it know on my social media. People are like, well, I don't do Facebook. Okay, well, then you're not going to get the announcement on Facebook. Well, I do Twitter. Well, I announce on Twitter, too. So just make sure you're on something, okay? And Luke, you can go to YourGuitarSage.com/live and you can find out more about. We're going to make an announcement here in the next day or so here. So just make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're on my social media and what have you, and I will let you know, Luke, specifically how to win this guitar. I started learning piano recently, and music theory made so much more sense when applied to the keyboard. I can now form any chords on the keyboard, major or minor, but how can I do that on guitar? That's a really broad question, my friend. Really broad. You can do that by following my videos. I have a major scale video that's in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. You'll hear me say that a lot. Why? Because if you haven't gone through this free 30 lesson series, friends, I can't help you. Okay, I can help you a little bit, but you've got to start there, because that is absolutely going to get you to understand the basics of guitar so that you can do all this other stuff. But you got to know the basics first, okay? Is thumb okay to fret or nah? Yeah, I do. I have some videos on it for sure. Hendrix did it. Okay, lots of questions here on YouTube. I'm going to pop over to Facebook because I don't want to leave our friends hanging there, okay? Okay, hopefully I'm on the right video here. I think I am. Let me double check to make sure I can see me live. Yeah, there I am. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to get to some questions here. Now I'm on Facebook, okay? All right, Brian, yes, here I am. I'm for you here, okay? Okay, please, question marks too. Does swimming and going in a hot tub ruin your calluses? It can soften them a little bit, but as long as you don't peel them off, they should dry up again, and they should be fine. So definitely don't peel your calluses off. They're there for a reason, okay? Any finger exercises to help with stretching on the fretboard? Darren, join me on the 30th. But yes, I have videos for that. Obviously, I tell you what, in the free course, I have several exercises, YourGuitarSage.com/30. You should see a link for that inside of the description of the videos as well. If not, super easy, YourGuitarSage.com/30. It's free. People say, well, why did you create that? Because I literally get so many basic questions like that it saves me hours a day being able to say, you got to check this out, go to that, and I'm giving you something so that you can knock it out of the park, okay? This will be rebroadcasted, Mikhail, for sure. Okay, I just became confused. Your C major pentatonic looks like an F sharp minor pentatonic, but they would not have the same notes in the scale. Correct. Bonnie, C minor pentatonic or F sharp minor pentatonic would be down here. Because that's F sharp. C major pentatonic, remember, pinky, here's C, and same form, so that's C major pentatonic. So they're in different places of the neck. Sometimes that can be a bit confusing, though. Okay, are you going to be playing it before giving it away? I love a warmed up strat. Yes, I'm going to be playing it a lot, okay? Should a person with a disability learn from an acoustic or an electric guitar? It depends, Lisa. It's just so depends on the disability and everything else. But I mean, either should work. I'd say an acoustic because you don't have to mess with as many things. You're not going to be as distracted. Is there a specific way to strum? There is indeed. I cover it in one of the first videos in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. That's why I have that there so that I can show you with a lot of detail, and we won't have to do it every live broadcast. That's a great question, Lisa. Thinking of getting a Fender, but keep reading about how they hum. Don't know if I could deal with that or just how bad is the hum. John, no, people have been playing Fenders for years. Here's the deal. This is a Fender. Now, this is what they're talking about, okay? If I can even get it to do it. No, I won't be able to get it to do it with my system. It's so clean. But nonetheless, when you're using one pickup on a Fender Strat, it can tend to have a little bit of hum. When you're using two pickups at once, it bucks the sound. It cancels the sound. That's hence how humbucking pickups came about. They're also higher output. But no, it's not, anything you're reading there is from somebody who's really green and doesn't know what they're talking about, because, Hendrix played them. Everybody's played them, Yeah. Don't believe 1% of the stuff you read in forums. People love to just, Can I demonstrate a hammer-on and pull-off? Here you go. Here's a hammer-on. I pick a note, hammer my finger onto the string. A pull-off is the opposite. You're going to pick a note, and basically you're finger picking with that finger. Okay. Is shredding mainly a matter of pick technique? Eric, shredding is a matter of lots of practice. If you're a shredder, you're practicing a lot. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day. 8 hours a day will do it. It'll get you close. It's a matter of lots of repetition. You said going from the minor pentatonic to the minor keys to major pentatonic, the major keys, use your pinky or the root. How does that relate to diatonic with the start from the middle finger or the root? Any formula? Brian, it's the same thing. Major and minor. If you want to go to the minor, you go 3 half steps down. If you want to go to the major from the minor, you go 3 half steps up. So it's literally the exact same. How to know the first chord to a song? You mentioned, you listen for it. What's the first chord? You mentioned that playing form 1 up the fret to listen whether sounds right, but by that time I try all the frets. The song would be under other chords instead of the first chord. Tiffany, it doesn't have to be just the first chord. The chord progression, see, think about it like the planets in the solar system. If you were visiting different solar systems and you saw Mercury and Jupiter and Venus, you'd say, hey, we're in the Earth solar system. I'm sure it has a name, but we're in that solar system, right? Because it's not just the one planet, Earth, that tells you you're there. The other planets tell you as well. So the other notes and chords in a song determine what the key is. So if you hear a chord progression playing and you're playing that scale over it, it's not just the first chord, it's all the chords. It should sound nice over all the chords. If it doesn't, move on to the next scale. Move it up, because that's means you're in the wrong key. Okay, good. All right, I'm scrolling up to the top now. Back up to the top on Facebook, and then I'm going to pop back over to YouTube because it seems like we get a lot more questions there. How can we practice those pentatonics? Do you have a lesson for relative chords? You can practice the pentatonic scales by literally just practicing them. Make sure you can play it well in every key. So that's super easy, right? And then if you want to get to using them, if you're inside the Unstoppable guitar system, you should know where to look. There's lots of places, but there's minimalistic blues, and there's call and response within the Unstoppable system. Otherwise, on YouTube, you could search for the same thing. I don't have nearly as many videos as I have inside the system, but you could search minimalistic blues, YourGuitarSage, and you'll find that. Or YourGuitarSage call and response, and you'll find ways to practice that. I also have lots of jam tracks. You could type in YourGuitarSage jam tracks, or if you're in the Unstoppable guitar system, we have nearly 600 jam tracks now, okay? Lots of them. What is a reasonable angle to hold the guitar? I want to look at the strings sometimes, but without hitting the high E a lot. Jude, whatever works for you, honestly. There's no specific angle that, I mean, right now I probably have this thing sitting at a 45-degree angle, but normally when I'm playing, I'm about like that, maybe like 15 degrees or something. But if I'm looking at the fretboard, I'm going to move it back a little bit. So if you can grab the notes, you're fine. There's no specific way. If you can get to the notes, you're good. Is this video available on the website? No, it will only be available here on Facebook, my friend. Oh, and YouTube. How to practice pentatonic scale 1 when I learn it. What exercises and staff? Just went over that. Minimalistic blues. Search YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues on YouTube. Follow that jam track. That'll help out a lot. Sorry if my question on YouTube was too broad about chords, Eric. There's a limit to how many words you can type, so I'll go into detail. On the piano, you can form a C major form by going to a C note and finding the second note by going up, and then the third note. Yes, I'm following there. Okay. To make it a minor, you just move the second finger down a half step. Right. My question is, can I apply this to the guitar? Evan, you can apply it to the guitar, exactly. For instance, but it doesn't look the same, obviously. Okay, so see, and actually, if you take a C major chord and you drop, if you're playing piano and you move, you said finding the second note by going up. Yeah, right. To make it a minor, you just move the second finger down a half step. I don't think that's totally accurate what you're saying there, Evan. It could be, but I'd have to, no, because a half step you'd be in a different key. You'd have a black key in there, and then the key of C, it's only the white keys. But if you play a major chord on the piano, C major, if you take your thumb and you drop it down a half step, then that will be a G chord. Is that right? I'm pretty sure it'll be either a G chord or a C, D, E, or E minor. I believe it's in E minor. Nonetheless, I'd have to put the theory together in my mind. But yeah, you could do the same thing on guitar. Like for instance, notice A minor and C major look very similar. These two fingers stay the same. You could do this with any major minor combination. Here's D minor and F major. You could do this for any of them. Okay, so we're just moving that, we're doing one little tweak, and yes, you can do that on the guitar. It won't be as obvious on the guitar though, if you're used to playing the piano. Also, how much did that guitar cost? I probably still have enough lifetime savings to pay for it. It was nearly $800. So Grun had it online for $750, and then after taxes and what have you, it was nearly $800. Have you used Brain Gym to improve motor function coordination? No, I have not. I haven't, Chuck. This is how I feel about stuff like that. It's like it's great, but I find things like that to be a distraction. If you want to be good at playing guitar, if you want your coordination to be good at playing guitar, you play guitar. If you want to get good at playing a scale, you don't practice an exercise, you practice the scale. Why? Because there are certain things that you're going to do every single time that are different in that scale than it would be in the exercise. Not to say there's anything wrong with exercises. In fact, in the beginning, it's really good, especially for folks that are trying to play music and they hear the music and they're like, oh, this is great, but their technique's bad. What exercises do in the beginning is they keep you focused on the technique, which is very important in the beginning. We're trying not to make music in the beginning. We're trying to just get the technique down. So that's why I think exercises are great in the beginning. Later on, I'd really prefer you to do more musical things like playing scales and what have you. So that's my 2 cents on it, Chuck. I could be wrong. Okay. Okay, on the 30-day free course you offer, can I do that at my own pace, or do individual lessons need to be done each day? No, you can do it at your own pace. Mom to 2 small kids, so I play when I can. Karen, take your time. And now with the current system that we have, folks, if you don't know what Karen's talking about, it's the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. It's my website, /30, because there's 30, the top 30 lessons I teach all my students I teach all my students. You'll hear me say it a lot because it's absolutely the most important thing that you can do for your guitar playing. Listen to me. It's free. Ain't no tricks. I'm giving this to you for free. It's the most important thing you can do for your guitar playing by making sure that you have those basic skills down. YourGuitarSage.com/30. And the new bit that we've got here, you can actually check off the videos as you're doing them to make sure that you have them right. The URL for that should be in the description of the video. Okay, can you help me with anchoring my pinky hand for more tight, detailed picking? Aaron, don't worry about anchoring your fingering. You're anchoring your picking hand. Okay, it really doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with repetition. So whether you're anchoring your pinky or not, there's not a specific thing that any guitar teacher could show you that's going to make that better. Okay, really what it has to do with is you getting accustomed to something. It's kind of like if you ever see a baby with a fork, they hold it like this if you're lucky. Otherwise, they're just grabbing everything with their hands. Why is that? Why don't they just hold it normal? Well, because they haven't done it enough. It's not accustomed. They're not accustomed to it. You too were a baby, and you too held the fork like that if you were lucky after you did this. So these are skills, motor skills that we have to build synapses in our brain. If we don't build those synapses, there's no trick. It's just a matter of you've got to build the synapses. And the way to build the synapses is by doing something over and over and over and over and over again. Each time you do it, you're literally building a trail. And as that trail grows, it's easier. This is literally physically what happens in your brain is you're building blood vessels, and you're also building neural paths by repetition. Very important. That's how I can help you, Aaron. Okay. All right, and I think I got to Evan's question there. Okay, thank you, Sumtree. I appreciate that. Kind words. If in the key of D, do you start the pattern on the 10th fret? Yes, you do, right? So right here, when I was playing this is in D minor. Was that right? No, sorry, I changed chord progressions on you there. The one that I did in the beginning, I was in D minor, and D minor, and it starts at the 10th fret. So yeah, you're correct. Great job, Max. All right. Okay, I'm going to bump back over now. I'm going to bump back over to YouTube and get to some questions here, and I'm going to start right at the end, right at the last one that was written here. Hi, my Fender Strat sounds way too bright to me. Do you know any fixes? Okay, so let's talk about this for a moment, okay? Because a lot of people will think it's one particular thing, and there's many variables that determines your sound. Your guitar determines your sound, the picks you're using, the strings you're using. I have a whole section of this inside the Unstoppable Guitar System called the Ultimate Pursuit of Tone, and I go from the pick to the strings, to the pickup, to the wood of the guitar, to the cable, to the bridge, to the amp, to the speaker, to the tubes, to the no tubes, to the pedals, to the all, okay? Because everything's a variable. So, this might sound brittle. And then this may sound really, really warm. And I did nothing but changed pickups and tone knobs here on the Strat. So chances are you can adjust whatever you need to adjust, NARF. You can do that on your guitar by messing with the tone knobs, mess with the pickup selector. And if that doesn't do it, it might be your amp is set too bright. So it's probably not the guitar. Maybe you're playing too close to the bridge. There's a lot of different things you can do. My best advice to everybody who has lots of questions when it comes to this stuff is play. Just keep playing. Play through your questions. Because what happens is as you start playing more, okay, it starts making sense. It'd be like if I visited some other country that I've never been to, and I had all these questions, and every single question I had, I walked up to someone local there, and I said, hey, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, what happens if I just sat back for a minute and I just watched? After a while, stuff would start making sense, right? I'm not saying I don't like these questions. Obviously, that's why I'm here, is to answer your questions. But I'm saying if you want to get your questions answered, observe, watch, play a lot, and a lot of these questions will start just coming to you because you're going to observe and you're going to go, oh. Okay, a lot of that stuff. Okay, what is your favorite blues chord progression? Della, the basic 12-bar blues is my favorite. I've got videos for that on YouTube if you want to check it out, but the basic 12-bar blues in A, I love it. If you want to know about that video, you can just search YourGuitarSage 12 and you'll find a few videos on that. Okay, what are other important useful notes besides the root notes within the pentatonic scales? How do you utilize them? Okay, great question, but not an easy one to answer. That would be like if we were painting and you said, well, how do you use blue? Or how do you use yellow? How do you use green? Well, you use them according to your emotions. So if you're painting grass, you use green. If you're, or maybe you don't. Maybe you use brown or purple or something. But usually you would use green. And if you saw the sun, you'd usually paint it yellow or white. Again, this is part of the getting involved. It's like, how do you use the notes? You use them by being creative. If I gave you a pen, you say, well, how do I draw a wolf? Well, someone could sit down and show you that, but you could also just start using your imagination. Well, I know it has a nose like this and what have you. It may not look amazing, but the more you do it, the more you will end up making that look better and better and better. It's impossible. Our brains don't operate to where they get worse if we're practicing something. If you go to the gym, it's impossible for you, if you're working out, it's impossible for you not to lose weight and to gain muscle and what have you. It may not be at the speed that you think it should be, but it's impossible. You can't lift a weight and not burn a calorie. It's impossible. You can't practice something and not get good at it. Brain is not designed to do that, okay? It does that. It just is. Congratulations. You've got a great brain. Okay, I've got pentatonics down pretty good. What should I focus on next? Making them sound good. So if you know how to play them well, then you can play them, make them sound good. If you need, in that case, you should be able to play in any key, all the notes, and make it not sound like a scale. It needs to sound like you're soloing. And you need to be able to bend and be able to do hammer-ons and pull-offs and runs and just sound amazing. And if you don't sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever your idol is, then you got work to do. Then you got to do more learning of that. Okay. My opinion on musician, again, you're going to get better at doing exactly what it is you're trying to get good at. A simulator. Even the best simulator is never going to be as good as the real thing. So, musician, yeah, it's helpful. All that stuff is helpful. You're learning stuff for sure. But in my opinion, I'd rather you be playing guitar and learning songs and what have you. With that said, there's nothing wrong with it. You're going to learn something from it, You're going to learn something from it. Any tips for how to improvise melodic emotional solos? Tommy, yes. On YouTube, watch YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues, and I teach you how to think this way. You got to take a small part of a scale and learn to use that one part of the scale with emotion, and there's a trick to it. Got some great questions today. Okay. All right, I'm bouncing all the way to the top here now. Believe 1% of you read in forums. Gospel, it's true. How old is this Strat? This Strat's in 1985. My old one's in 1965. Can you do a quick explanation on performing harp harmonics? Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by harp harmonics, but I think you mean by plucking, like. So harmonics are there's harmonics all over the neck. You're hearing, I'm barely touching the strings, and what you're hearing there are harmonics, okay? And the biggest ones are at the 5th, 7th, and 12th frets. And it creates like a nice chime sound. Well, you can use the same principle of 5, 7, 9 with whatever you're fretting. So if I'm fretting this A minor chord, then I could come to 12 frets above it and play that form. If I play a C chord, and play a D major, a E minor, okay, and so you could do 5, 7, 9 above all that stuff. So Eddie Van Halen, he would go like he would actually pop the fret just above it, and it would create a harmonic. But harp harmonics, I think what you're talking about is when you use this finger, right, to put your finger on the string, and then with one of these other fingers, you're plucking the string. Okay, it's done sometimes in classical guitar. Evan, it's his birthday in 5 days. Fender Strat for his B-Day. Yes, indeed. Is it possible to get a decent electric guitar for under $150? Yeah, sure. You get the most bang for your buck the cheaper the guitar that you get, but sometimes you're spending so little that you're not getting a whole lot, so there is a variable. But, you know, Epiphone makes a decent one, Fender makes a decent one, and it is what it is. It's a decent one. It's like $150. It's like it's not going to be your guitar for life. You're going to outgrow it. It's going to feel and sound differently than a more expensive guitar. It's just the way they work, right? But with that being said, I would check out the Epiphone or the Fender versions of those, like on Amazon or what have you. The store, Chris, if you'd put up our store URL, we've got a store out there, YourGuitarSage.com/kit or kit.com/YourGuitarSage. So you can go there and you can check out some of the lower priced guitars that you could purchase specifically for what you're talking about there, Glenn. Okay. Okay, any tips for first-time, semi-beginner, intermediate players in the studio? Bobby is saying. Bobby, yes. My main tip for you would be always, well, it's a dual-edged sword. When you start recording yourself, you're going to hear yourself in a different light than you did before. Meaning, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know I suck that bad. It's just what everybody says because they're playing to something that's in tune and something that's in time, and it's when your nuances really come out. It's when your mistakes really come out. So it's great. It'll push you to be a better player. I would say always go for another take. I wouldn't say that to a pro, because pros, they always want to go for another take, or not always, the ones that really know, that usually they can pull it off in 1 or 2 takes. That if they do it more than that, they'll lose the inspiration of that moment. But for players who are newer to it, there's always a better take. There's always something in you that you could go better, that you could play better. So just keep playing with it and have fun with it. Make sure you're got a metronome going. Make sure you're tuning up every time. Keep it simple. Try not to let the mechanics of recording get in the way of your playing. So use something very simple like Logic or GarageBand, and again, just keep it really simple. That would be my advice to you. Any suggestions for a school jazz band? Any amp suggestions for a school jazz band? The Roland, like a Roland Jazz Chorus, right? Or I think it's called the Cube. Those are real famous jazz amplifiers. But yeah, just keep it really simple, keep it clean, keep it warm. So, typically when folks are playing jazz, they're not using bright sounds like that. They're using more warm sounds like this, you know? Even like, maybe even like this. Like that's the kind of sounds that you'll hear. In jazz, darker, warmer tones. What are your thoughts about Chordify? I don't know much about it. And usually I know about that stuff. I've heard of it, but usually, you know, anything like that's going to pop out of the mix to me if it's going to be amazing, you know. But that's just my opinion, you know, Mary Beth. You know, like I'm a big believer in figure out what it is that you want to do and don't dance around it with other things. If you want to play chords, guitar chords, practice guitar chords. Don't practice a video game that's practicing guitar chords. I know it's more fun. That's the whole point of it, is because it's more fun and it's distracting. But like, head on into whatever it is you're trying to do. Buckle up and do the work, and that's going to get you there way quicker than doing anything else that's kind of dancing around. If you want to learn guitar scales really well, don't work on exercises, work on guitar scales. If you want to get good at music theory for guitar, work on music theory while you're playing guitar. You know, that would be my suggestion. I know I sound like a hard ass about that, but it's because it's true. I've never seen anything other than that, and I've done it both ways for sure. How important is it to memorize every single note on the fretboard? I don't think it's important at all. I've been playing for 30-something years. I don't have them memorized. Does it make a difference than taking the number approach in relation to the tonic? Brandon, watch my video that's in the free course, again, YourGuitarSage.com/30, where I talk about knowing all the notes on the fretboard. You have what I call springboards, so there are places that, yeah, you know every single time. It's where, you know, EAD, GBE, EAD, GBE, and then we know, you know, from tuning the 5th fret, which is also duplicated at the 17th fret, you know, when we're tuning like this. So those are what I call springboards, and then from there you can go backwards or forwards by using that system that I teach in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30, and that will help you to understand the fretboard more. I don't know of anybody who has it memorized any more than someone has the numbers 1 through 1,000,000 memorized. You know, if I said to you, count 1 to 1,000,000, you'd be able to do it, but you don't have them memorized, do you? No, of course not. You just, you know the system. You know 3 is after 2, and it's before 4, and 4, and then 5, and then 6. We know 1 through 9, and then we know how the decimal systems work, and that's how we're able to count to 1,000,000 if we want. But we've never done it, right? Who's done that? Why would you do that? It's a waste of time. So, but we have systems for doing that. In the same way, that's how folks memorize the fretboard, is they use systems. I don't know of anybody that has it memorized. It may look like they do, they may say that they do, but it would be, again, it would be like, how would you prove that someone didn't memorize counting to 1,000,000? It's like you don't memorize it, you have a system. It's like little triggers that make you say 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. It's a system. You're such a hard ass, Eric. I know. Is there a better visual aid diagram for scales that gives start and finish points? Well, what I'm giving you in that PDF gives you start and finish points for sure. But they all, well, you typically want to play it from tonic to tonic, you know, from root to root. Is it okay to leave guitars in a naturally lit room? I sometimes worry about the sun hitting my guitar. Over years, it definitely will, it will mess with the finish some, indeed. Over many years, typically. Unless it's in direct sunlight, and then it definitely can do that. Do you currently jam in any bands in the Nashville area? At the moment, I am not in a band. The last band I was in was about a year ago, and I just doing this just got to be too consuming for me to do both. Okay, Jason just printed up that PDF. Great. Good job, my friend. Okay, any simple picking tricks or tips for picking going from strumming? Yes, it's called the pick rest, and it's like video 4 or 5, I believe, in the free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. So usually those I won't go over with you because I'm going to be able to give it to you a lot more detail in that course, and it's free, and we'd be holding everybody up here. So I'm really trying to get you guys up to snuff on this on the basics here so that we can get into some really higher end stuff. But it's still a great question. What are the most common, important, your favorite pedals to use when playing? To me, overdrive is really important, some sort of reverb, which is usually on your amp itself, and a delay. I love those. A looper pedal. I love some sort of looper pedal so that I can play over the top of stuff that I'm doing and what have you, you know? What is your desired listen to genre? Well, believe it or not, it's not blues. I do not like listening to blues so much. I love playing blues, but I love classical, love listening to classical. I love rock, you know, classic rock, alternative, whatever that means anymore, just weird stuff. So I listen to a little bit of all. I'm kind of all over the board. All right, good stuff. I'm gonna bump back over to Facebook and get any last few questions that we might have there, and then we're gonna close up shop for today. Okay. Again, a few things that I want to tell you is don't forget that you probably could go there now, YourGuitarSage.com/live, and you could probably get some information for the upcoming broadcast. I don't know if we have it up yet, but if we don't, it's okay. You can sign up there anyhow. But here's what I do want you to do. If you're not either subscribed or liking my Facebook or any one of these, it's not a trick. I'm going to let you know on these platforms, and if you're not subscribed, how are you going to find out, right? So whatever your preferred platform is, if you don't want to like them all or subscribe to all of them, then at least like one of them, because I'm going to announce it. You're going to see announcements on there, okay? The best way to do it is to subscribe on YouTube and then hit that notification icon. You think you can do the same on Facebook? There's a way to do it. We might have a video for you on that, but nonetheless, really important to do if you want to be in on this, okay? So remember, mark it down in your calendar, June the 30th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. What I'm going to be showing you is 7 weekly practice focuses for all guitar players. Basically, this is 7 areas of practice that I think are going to be the most influential, that I found most influential to me and my students throughout the decades, that are absolutely going to break you open. And by focusing on these specific areas one a day, what's going to happen is it's going to get you outside your comfort zone and get you to do things that you hadn't done before, and it's going to make you a better player instead of just picking up the guitar and playing the same old thing all the time, right? We all do it. I'm guilty of it too. Okay, Mary Beth says, I seem to be so focused on everything else but playing songs, learning your course. Can you give some advice to get me going on songs? Mary Beth, find a song that you love. I love that you're in the course. It's very important. But ultimately, we don't go on stage to play scales and chords, right? The scales and chords make up songs. People want to hear songs, right? So it's important that we're learning songs, and it's kind of your carrot, if you will. Whenever I have a song that I really want to play and I love, I get excited about it, and it drives me to be a better player. So songs. So find a song that you love, Mary Beth, and start there. And then after that song is done, find another song that inspires you. Really important to find a song that you absolutely love and you want to learn it. Okay, that's how to do it. The thought of 6 pianos stacked on top. Okay, I'm looking for question marks. What do I think about the Fretlight guitar system? I've got a video for the Fretlight guitar system, Mike, because I actually bought one, or didn't buy one. They sent me one for review, and I thought it was pretty cool. Shows you the notes all over the fretboard, so I think it's really great. There's something else called Fret Zealot. Thank you, Chris. Fret Zealot, and that is basically something that you can put on your guitar aftermarket. That's like an adhesive that has LEDs in it. So I just did a review for that. It just went up. It's not live yet, but it'll be up soon. You can see that, and that's something that you put on afterwards. It's helpful. I think they're all helpful. Especially for beginners. You'll see the pattern there in lights right underneath your finger. You can also get dependent on it, so that's why I don't necessarily love it, but it's definitely good for beginners, okay? So that's my take on that. I would like to say positive things about everything, which I think that was fairly positive, but I also got to be honest. So I think they're great, but you can get dependent on it too, you know? Roy Gallagher, yeah. beast mode for sure. Possibly some future lessons, yes. So many songs to teach. My goodness, right? So many songs to teach. Okay. All right. I'm going to pop back up to the top here. Make sure there's no last questions here. Okay. Evan's saying, great stream, Eric. Does it ever irritate you that you get asked the same questions all the time? No. No, that's really kind of you. Thank you, Evan. No, it doesn't bother me. What does bother me is when I give people information and they don't go after that information and then they ask the question, because they're only hurting themselves and hurting everybody else because I give you these courses and everything else. So it doesn't bother me to answer questions over and over again, especially if it's something that's outside of, say, like the free course. But the stuff that's in that free course, if I'm telling you to go to it, and it's literally going to make you 10 times the guitar player you are today, that's no joke. It's going to make you, the stuff that's in that course is like the top stuff, okay? And it's free. Otherwise, if you came to Nashville here, it would take us like many weeks, many months, and it would cost hundreds of dollars. And so, but I don't mind answering. I mean, that's why I'm here. I really, truly feel like I can help people play guitar. I love playing guitar. It's not a bad gig, having a guitar in my hands all the time and helping other people out, two of my favorite things. So it's great. It's cool. I love it. Jamstick, yes or no? Yeah, I used to give these jamsticks away. I think they're really cool. They're helpful, and they will, you know, I've used them for playing MIDI parts. I've used them for creating tabs. It's a great jamming device for all. It's not going to be in lieu of a guitar. Again, I'd like to be 100% positive about all, but I'm just calling it the way it is. It's not going to replace your guitar, but it's a great addendum. And they're really small, right? They're like that big. You can bring them traveling and what have you. Can't really do that with the guitar so much. Okay, Ian is saying, hi, just working. Is this available on your website, as I've missed the whole broadcast? Thank you for, sorry I missed you. Ian, this will be available on Facebook afterwards. It'll also be available on YouTube, and I have a PDF. Remember, folks, I have supplemental videos to today's course that are for free. Did you hear me? In the description of this video, either on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you download the PDF because we're getting ready to head out here, okay? Make sure you click on that PDF, download that, it's free. The other thing is free videos for you that are inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. You can take a little sneak peek inside there. You're not going to get everything, but you're going to get the videos that cover the pentatonic scale here. They're going to help with major and minor. I know there's some PDF downloads and what have you. So make sure that you download all that. So Ian, this will be available afterwards. You could watch it again, and then also the videos that I'm giving you now and the PDF, okay? That's the problem. I have a huge list of songs that I want to play. Mary Beth, find one that speaks to you the most, okay? Or better yet, go to YouTube, type in YourGuitarSage and the name of an artist that you like. If you're a big Elvis fan, type in YourGuitarSage Elvis. The Clash, type in YourGuitarSage Clash. YourGuitarSage Beatles. YourGuitarSage, you know, I don't know, AC/DC. And you're going to find the song that you're looking for, I promise. I typically only teach the good ones anyhow, right? They're all good, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, right? All right, my friends, I love you. Thank you so much from my friends on Facebook, friends on YouTube. If you haven't already, please like and share this, because after the broadcast, we pick 5 winners, either signed a signed book out or the trifecta ebook bundle that I have on my website. And we love giving stuff away. You know that on June the 30th, I'm going to be giving this beautiful baby away. 1985 Fender Stratocaster, candy apple red with a locking tuning system, which is pretty cool. Fender, it's literally patented by Fender, so they did this for a few years. I've never owned a Stratocaster that had a locking tremolo, so that's pretty darn cool. What that does is it keeps the guitar from going out of tune as much, if you didn't know that. And you have fine tuners down here, so I can literally tune the guitar down here. So I'm playing, I can easily just go right down here, and I love that about fine tuners. It's so cool that you've got that ability to do that. Okay, YourGuitarSage.com/live. Write it in your book, my friends. June the 30th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be teaching you those 7 key focus areas for all guitar players, and we're going to give away thousands of dollars worth of goodies, including lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System. I want you there. All right, my friends, I'm out of here.